Well, here we go. Episode 5. I've kind of put off this episode for a few days because, well, it's getting harder, right? It's getting harder, and as it's getting harder to talk about it, we're also getting closer to September. It's only a couple days away, and my body knows. I've been starting to have my health flare-ups, which happen every September. I typically, last year I ended up in 3 ambulances, so I'm aiming to end up in none this September. However, my health is already starting to go downhill as we approach to September. It's the craziest thing. It's my psyche knows, my body knows, my stomach knows. So, episode 5, y'all. It is now the morning of September 12th. We have got to the Javits Center now, which is the center where they are actually taking the volunteers. So they were putting it on the radio and the news that anybody who wanted to volunteer, any medics, firemen, police, whatever, anybody who had any kind of backing that could do something down there at the pile to volunteer by going to the Javits Center. And I did. That morning, I got myself over there. And when we got to the Javits Center, of course, I was in line with all the thousands of other people standing outside of it. Just this Javits Center takes up a whole block. It's huge. It's a massive convention center, and people were lined out by the thousands around it. And we were out there for hours in line. And at some point, some of the people that worked there at the Javits Center, that were the volunteers orchestrating this, they came outside and started calling out for everybody and saying, anybody with medical, anybody with medical. And they were going through the line, and anybody with medical, they were picking them up and saying, let's go. Well, they got to me, and I said, they said, what kind of medical do you have? And I said, well, my mom raised me in Haiti, which is a third world country at the time. Now it's fifth world country. But she raised me there, and I volunteered at a hospital with kids with tuberculosis and AIDS, and my mom, who did different things with the medical background. And then I said, then I was going to go to nursing, started, dropped out, whatever, right? And they were like, come on, that's it. That's all we need to hear. And I was like, okay, right? So they take me, bring me into the Javits Center to these big tables set up, and everybody, all these volunteers were at the table. And they took all of our information down on a piece of paper, some form, right? They took our information down. I remember we signed it. I remember they gave us like a stack of stuff, and they were like, because they asked, what are your shoe sizes, clothes size, whatever. And they gave us a stack of stuff, and they were like, we need you to go in the restrooms right here, everybody change, and then you come back out and meet us right here. So that's what we did. We did what we had to do. We changed, we got out in our PPE stuff, you know, our little suits and outfits, you know, respiratory, all the things, right? And then we come back out, and we're standing in the lobby, and they set us up with a cluster of a certain amount, maybe 30 people. I don't really remember how many of us. It was a city bus full, so 30, 40, 50 people. And they had the city buses that weren't working, obviously, because the city was closed down. So they had the city buses used as the transportation to get everybody from the Javits Center down to Ground Zero, where they were needing all the help, which is at the actual pile that everybody knows from the news from 9/11, right? And so we get on our city bus, and I remember everybody got seated up with somebody, so we were all like 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, right? And this man stood at the front of the bus, and I'm starting to shake and get like lightheaded as I'm talking about this. So if I have to end it early, I'm sorry. I'm trying to do this little bits at a time and giving full details, you know, or as much as I want to disclose on here. So we were on the bus, and they said, whoever's sitting next to you is now going to be your partner down there. So they paired us up with whoever was next to us. And I remember the lady next to me, her name was Diane or Diana. And she had to be, I was 22, y'all. I was 22 years old at the time and a mother of a 4-year-old, okay? Yeah, almost a 4-year-old, wow. And they said that's going to be your partner that you're going to go down to Ground Zero and work with. And they kind of talked to us and they said, what we're going to prepare you to see, it's going to be like nothing you've ever seen before. Now, they don't realize I lived in Haiti and I had seen some pretty crazy stuff. I have had a baby die in my arms. I have seen people decapitated. Yeah, a lot of stuff while I was in Haiti from 10 to 14. So they prepare us, they tell us what we're going to see. They tell us that they're going to only be able to get to a certain distance before they're going to have to just drop us off. And we're going to have to make our way down to the pile. And they told us how we would walk and things like that. But they said there's only so far the city bus could get between all the debris and stuff. And you know, you turn to your person, you just met the person you were going to spend the next how many ever hours you could make it down there with. And that they, you know, if we needed out, we could go back to this spot where they would get us buses up. I don't even remember any of that, right? They dropped us off. I can't tell you where they dropped us off. They got us as close as they could to downtown. As we're driving downtown, it's everything that I remember seeing the day before being down there. Everything's covered in gray, ashes, soot, body, debris, whatever you could possibly imagine, it was there. It was wild. Everything was one color. Everything was one color, including the people walking around down there. And we're going to talk more about that. But now it's 7 minutes and 15 seconds in. So I'm going to stop right there, guys, as me and my new mate is going to head to our triage and what's about to happen and what we're about to see from that point. But now we are arriving down at the furthest the bus could arrive. And episode 6, we will reconvene right there. Thank you.